Good morning to all. In today's session, to start with the 10th semester physics, unit number 8, chemical bonding, where series number 2 is going to be discussed. So earlier we completed what happens, what kind of forces will be operated when we are combining reactant, and in order to form the what are operating in the universe, those are discussed. And Davy-Humphrey experiment is also completed. In addition to this one, unit number 1 to 7, detailed explanation available on the channel called World of Competitive Chemistry. This is Kavita Kothireddy. I'm going to brought you about the concept related with the reasoning kind of questions. Why the chemical reactions? What could be the reason for that one? And where the energy is going? Those are reasoning questions will brought to you in today's session. Now let us discuss about electrons in the valency share responsible for the formation of bond between the atoms. As we already know, valency electrons denotes what with respect to central nucleus. Here, the outermost shell regarded as a valency shell, right? So in that valency shell, what kind of electrons are resided? Those electrons are termed as a valency electrons. So based on the nature of these valency electrons only, we can assign the type of chemical reactivity for that element. So individual elements are possessing different kind of valency electrons, so that properties will be varied from one group elements to any other group elements, right? So here valency electrons are having short of electrons, so that they have a tendency to seek the electrons. Sorry. So if valency electrons are electron rich in nature, in that case they have tendency to release the electrons. In that way, based on the nature of valency electron and the number of electrons present in that, entire chemical properties of the elements will be decided. Now, we are going to recap our previous concept, which already we know. In our previous lessons, we already studied about what is meant by exothermic and what is meant by endothermic reactions, and studied about what could be the reactivity order of the elements which are present in the periodic table. These topics were already completed. Let us have a glance on this exothermic and endothermic kind of reactions. Let us see. Exothermic reaction is nothing but when we are adding one of the compound with any other compound in the presence of specified conditions like a catalyst, room temperature, or heating, any kind of reaction conditions we are supplying, so that what happens, product of formation is possible. That is known as a chemical reaction. During that chemical reaction, if reactant to product formation, if heat is evolved during the reaction, I'm giving the simplest example to you by taking sodium hydroxide pellets in the beaker, add water to that one and stir in order to dissolve that substance in that. While stirring, what happens, that entire beaker will become warm. That is the reason for heat release, because during the equation of that sodium hydroxide pellets, heat will be evolved. That is said to be an exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction is nothing but whenever reactants get combined, product formation is possible along with the liberation of heat, emission of heat. That reaction is said to be exothermic. Here, within the reaction, you can clearly observe that arrows are inclined towards out, so that reaction proceeded with the release of energy. So entire reaction conditions will become warm. So this is a kind of exothermic. Move on to endothermic reaction. When we are combining the reactant species, so these are not get combined at normal room temperature conditions. In order to facilitate the reaction, in order to achieve the product of formation, we have to supply the external heat. So here arrows are inclined inward. That's the reason why heat should be supplied to the system, then only reaction will be facilitated. Hence, we can say heat absorption is called a endothermic reaction. So here, the kind of heat absorption and release are denoted with exothermic and endothermic respectively. And there are certain type of reactions with respect to the reactant to product of formation. If you are combining two different elements into a product of formation, that is said to be a synthesis of a chemical reaction. And when two already existing product get decomposed into the individual atom, that is said to be a decomposition reaction. When already existing product is added with a new coming reactant, so that a displacement of one of the species with any other, that is said to be a single displacement. Already existing product will be added with one more kind of multi-component system, so that here multi-component exchange is possible. That is said to be a double displacement reaction. In this manner, so many kind of chemical reactions are possible. They are purely governed by the valency electrons present in the outermost shell of the given element. In this way, so each and every element having their own type of valency electron. That's the reason why they are having distinctive properties with respect to addition of reagent in the entire periodic table. Now, we are going to enter into questions which are related with the reasoning type. Some elements are more reactive and some other elements are lesser reactive. Why? There is the absorption of energy in a certain chemical reaction and release of energy in any other reactions. So this is a kind of question is reasoning, and I collected the answer from Topper's answer. Thank you very much for your valuable information. And let us see what is the probable answer for this question. If the reactant molecule, particular reaction have more energy than product, the energy will be released. At this type of reaction are said to be exothermic in nature. If the product molecule have more energy when compared to the starting material, then they used to absorb the heat from the surroundings. And these are the reactions said to be endothermic. So in order to facilitate the reaction, if heat evolved during the process, because the products having lesser energy with respect to starting materials, so that heat will be evolved. Those are called exothermic in nature. Conversely, a product having more energy when compared to the starting materials, we have to supply the external heat. That kind of supply of external heat is said to be a endothermic reaction. So this is a kind of reasoning question, and more and less reactive purely based on valency electrons present in the given species. So if they are having enough electrons, so that reactivity will not be there. If they are having more tendency within the Barn electron addition, that will be turned into a very stable, so that reactivity will be very higher. So if that having tendency to lose the electron, because after losing electron, that attaining stability, in that case also more reactivity will be there. So this is purely depends upon valency electrons present in the given kind of element. And one more reasoning question we are going to discuss, where the absorbed energy will go. So if we are giving external energy to the given reaction, then how it will be processed and what is the way of the utilization of this energy? Let us see. The energy is stored in a bond of the product as a chemical energy. So the bond which is uniting the atoms of combining molecules or combining reactants, those are used to store the energy in the form of chemical energy in an endothermic reaction. The product have more stored chemical energy than the reactants. Stored energy will be higher in case of endothermic reaction. They will be very stable in nature, right? So in that manner, energy will be stored in order to unite the atoms of combining species, right? So here I'm going to discuss about the endothermic reaction, how the reaction will be facilitated. This is the answer collected from CK12. Thank you very much for your valuable information. And whenever we are plotting the graph in between potential of the energy versus reaction progress, reactants were taken and they are having the lower energy. In order to reach the product of formation, it obviously have higher energy, so that we have to supply the extra energy from the external source. When external energy is supplied, whose intermediate state, the transition state energy will be rise to very high, that is to be activation energy. Activation energy is nothing but the energy required to facilitate the reaction moving towards the product of formation. So that is the in-between state. After reaching this maximum level, again it go back to the product of formation. So in this manner, the heat absorption is possible in the endothermic reaction. The absorbed energy will be stored in the form of chemical energy by uniting the individual atoms which are combining for the product of formation. Now, we are going to discuss about what could be the reason, what is the exact relation between the energy and the formation of bond. Again, it is a kind of reasoning question. Let us discuss. Is there any relation between the energy and the bond formation between the atoms? Generally, energy will be released when the bond forms between two atoms, no matter what type of bond it will be, whether it may be covalent, ionic, coordinate covalent, what kind of bond it may be. But in some of the cases, energy will be released during that reactant to product of formation. Release of energy is possible. Similarly, bond already existing bond, what we are going to do, we are going to separating them into individual reactant species again. That is a kind of system called a decomposition. During the decomposition process, energy is required because already existing bonds we have to cleave. So that kind of reaction is called a decomposition, and energy supply is required for that. The amount of energy required to break the bond is said to be a bond energy. That is exactly is equal to the energy which you consumed for the bond formation. How much energy stored in the bond formation, that extent of energy is required to that make into individual atoms. When the chemical reaction occurs, molecule bonds are broken and other bonds are formed. Already existing bonds will be broken and new atoms are coming, new reactants are coming, they get combined and new bond formations are possible in different manner. Different kind of molecules are able to form with, and their energy requirement is also different. For example, bond of two water molecules are broken to form the hydrogen and oxygen. If you are taking water molecule, already it is a bent molecule that's subjected to electrolysis in order to convert into individual hydrogen and oxygen. So for that purpose, we are supplying external energy. Energy is always required to break the bond, and that is known as a bond energy. The amount of energy which is required to make the product into individual reactant species, that is the reciprocal of chemical bond formation. So that is known as a bond energy. Bond energy is defined in two ways or two alternative ways. One is when reactants get combined during the product formation, amount of energy released is also called as bond energy. Or else when the product formed that get converted into individual reactants by supplying the external energy, that is also denoted as a bond energy. Energy released when the bond is made. When we are uniting, what happens? Energy will be evolved during the reaction. So in this manner, there is a direct relation between the energy and the type of bond formation, what we are doing the chemical reaction here. And any other reasoning type of question, what could be the reason for the change in the reactivity of the elements? Why all are not showing equal reactivity? Why some are more reactive and some other are least reactive and more stable? What could be the reason for all these? We are going to discuss in detail, and this is the answer collected from Print Teachers. Thank you for your valuable information. The number of electrons in the outermost shell of atom determines its reactivity. This is the deciding factor. The valency electrons which resided in the outermost shell, those are only the reason for its entire chemical reactivity. Noble gases already with the satisfied electronic configuration, and already they attain the stability, so that the further reactivity will be least because already they are in the stable state. And because they have a full electrons in their outermost valency shell. Alkali metals highly reactive, and we mentioned here lithium. Highly reactive, what could be the reason? Because when we remove one of the electron from this one, that will be very stable and reaching the nearby noble gas configuration. Let us take the simplest example, lithium. 1s2, 2s. 1 is the outermost electronic configuration. If we remove one of the electron, it will become very stable lithium positive. That will be the helium configuration, noble gas configuration. So that it will become very reactive, because in order to lose the electron, it will be more reactive. Later, it will become very stable noble gas configuration. That's the reason where reactivity will be higher. And move on to fluorine. Again, fluorine having tendency to attain the electron here. So that is a converse with respect to lithium. Alkali metal having the tendency to lose the electrons, whereas halogen family elements, not only fluorine, all the halogen family elements are having tendency to seek the electron, so that by gaining one of the electron, and they will become very stable. How it will be? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 octet configuration will be attained, so that it will become very stable, and reactivity of fluorine is very high in order to attain the electron, so that it is the foremost element in the entire periodic table to possess electronegativity of higher. So that's the reason why different elements are having different kind of reactivity based on their valency electrons only. And by this, we completed the entire session of reasoning questions. Thank you very much for paying your attention towards listening this, and hope this will helpful for your continuous preparation. Thank you one and all.